And it is a nice hold from the Night Stalker, but I do agree with you, John. You're kind of just relying on that Night Stalker to try and shut down this Ember, and it's not going to prove to be too easy, that's for sure. Even against the Quap in the mid lane, like, while the Shadow Strike build is kind of annoying for the Ember, once you've got a couple levels in that Flame Guard, you don't really care anymore. You do just have that inherent advantage after that. Still, a couple more bans to go before we can finish off these drafts. We'll see YG ban up the PA. And this is where I get really curious, right? Like, what are they going to give Raging Potato in the safe lane now? That maybe looks a bit better than what we saw last game with the Medusa.
Yeah, so maybe something a bit more aggressive, something more up-tempo that kind of fits his mentality coming in from the offlane. So a Jug could fit that bill if they want to go for that route. Matchup against Monkey Kings, not the best, to be fair. And you are constrained by Omni Slash, so it's not as active as you might want it to be. And we haven't seen too much Jug anyway. They could try opting for, say, a Luna, clears out the creep wave from Beastmaster, gives you good team fight damage with the Eclipse, and flash farms pretty well. It can be aggressive once you do have that value point in the Eclipse. So that could be one way Raging Potato goes if he does go safe lane once more, because they could still switch around. They could put Pikachu on the safe lane instead if Raging wants to take that Night Stalker off lane.
Sure.
They still have that flexibility on hand and switching the players around. I have to say, Mike, I don't think the crowd sees this, but I'm looking at the team names in the game, the player names, and Ninja Bogey's got a very interesting username right now. Yeah, you see it too. It's a very interesting one.
What I mean, I guess you can say it if you want, John. Just don't say the don't say the first word if you can manage to avoid it.
Yeah. Okay. I'll say it. He says, UPLDT. I think the self-censorship to tell you what he's saying. So Ninja Boogie hasn't been having a good time with his ISP either, Mike, but no one's had a good time with that certain ISP recently because, again, Carl has been complaining about that for nearly 2 weeks now. So
you were complaining about it for years, John. I mean, you were complaining about it for years on end. Who cares about these pro players having a problem for a week or two? You were dealing with this for the last 4 years.
Oh yeah, it was painful until I finally jumped. It's a lot better. They still have issues. They're not good enough that I'd say their name, but it's a lot better at the least. It's a pick your poison situation in the Philippines. They're all kind of bad. You just got to deal with it. As we see the last bans there, Mike, PA and the Troll being taken out from YG. So again, taking off a core that might be able to be a bit more up tempo, that can still farm as well. Having that on and off switch for cycling between farm and fighting. Troll kind of fits that bill. And it kind of deals with Beastmaster role. I think YG's just been protecting that Beastmaster off lane. As we've seen PA, you can play with a dagger, just farm up safely, take care of the boars in that fashion. They go to Lina here. So SMG looking like we'll see a safe lane Quap. It could be safe lane Night Stalker, off lane Quap, mid Lina, Mike. So we might be able to get a safe lane Night Stalker if SMG feels spicy.
I think you had it right the first time, John. I think it is the safe lane Quap. I do appreciate you trying to get us all hyped up and excited about a safe lane NS, John, but I don't think that's happening this game, sadly. So YG, final pickup for themselves now, still needing a support by the looks of it. Pos 4, Pos 5, either way. Maybe just some more initiation, perhaps. Maybe a save, I guess. What are you looking at?
And they could still go with a different safe laner if they want to, although I feel like Monkey King versus Night Stalker lane is pretty good. And that's why I'm leaning towards a Queen of Pain off lane with Night Stalker safe, because the Queen of Pain has a bit of a nice time against Monkey King, at the least in range, and they will go with a Mirana. So we will have the Monkey King safe coming out. We get the skill lane Mirana, which he has been doing a lot of work on. And they've got decent enough setup. There's Roar Arrow, there's Chains Arrow, there's a Jingu Arrow. Can be nice. Boundless Strike Arrow. SMG, they will go with the Pikachu Night Stalker. Alright, so it's a safe lane Quap. I'm mildly disappointed, but you are right, Mike. This is the rational choice. I just wanted to see Night Stalker with Echo Saber, with Basher, with AC. The good old days, as he said, where he just runs everyone down and the supports just don't have fun.
No, the good old days. Nightmare. The good old days was the Midnight Stalker, John, because it made sense. I hit
Oh, yeah.
level 6 faster than anyone else in the mid lane. I get power runes. I have a bottle. I wait for nighttime, and then I just terrorize people. I don't understand why we don't go back to those days, John. Why can't we play Midnight Stalker anymore? Well, why
It's just not that good. It doesn't have great presence. I mean, you see it in his laning phase. Daytime doesn't feel great. They nerfed the heck out of his daytime potential in the lane. Remember when they changed the values on his nukes? Just doesn't feel as good. And talking about Midnight Stalker, what I miss is actually mid-Nyx. Mid-Nyx building Dagon. Those were the actual old days.
I mean,
that was a thing.
It was a thing. In Dota All-Stars you're talking about. This is a long time ago.
All the way back.
Yeah.
I used to do it in Dota 2, though. I used to do it. I was the guy you'd report for picking mid-Nyx. But back to the draft. I think SMG's got some pretty good tempo here. They shift their win condition onto Moon, which is a great choice because Raging has been a lot more active than you might want from your pause 1. So now Moon can be the guy to farm up and build up. And SMG is a great lineup to protect that win condition. For YG, they still have that run and gun potential. They still have really good team fight with the Disruptor and really good control with the Beastmaster. So I think, all things considered, even with that shift in win condition for SMG, if YG play like they did in Game 1, Mike, it's still going to be a pretty tough time for SMG.
I agree with you, John, but we are going to get into game number 2, and we'll see what SMG can get done. Of course, like you mentioned earlier, they are kind of desperate for the points right now on this this group stage of the BTS Pro Series Season 10. So they need every point they can get, and, well, we'll see if they can get it done against YG. I'd have to argue, though, that YG do seem to have come out with a better draft, if anything, right? Like, SMG can certainly take off. I think a lot of it is going to be on this Night Stalker, and of course Moon on that mid laner, but it does feel like once you miss your timing, if you do miss that timing, YG just takes over the game.
Yeah, I think you could argue that the Lina scales maybe just as nicely as the Monkey King does, especially with the Silver Edge build-up, Travels, BKB. You can be an absolute beast from range, but the Monkey King he has a lot more utility going towards the late game. He gets a lot of armor out from the Wukongs. You have a lot of control that scales on YG, especially with the Roar. So BKBs aren't a be-all, end-all save for the side of SMG. They have no good Dispel to deal with that Roar. There's no Abaddon this time around from SMG to cut off that initiation. So I think overall, YG has all their bases covered. SMG has got to play pretty fast as much as possible. As you mentioned, offlane is going to be important. Even Raging Potatoes Quap kind of has to get off to a running start. Maybe just build into a more aggressive style, say Urn, Spirit Vessel, kind of like an offlane Quap, and just itemize as this early aggressive hero and really funnel all the gold onto the Lina here.
That's fair. It does seem to be the meta right now, just having these safe lane Quaps, the safe lane Kunkka, just allowing the mid lane to be that real carry. Which is something I hope that changes in this new patch as well, because I think mid laners just have it too easy right now. I know I said this a few days ago, but mid laners have it way too easy. And they've got a billion runes, they've got a bottle filled up by their supports every 2 seconds. It's just too much. Mid lane used to be hard, John. It used to be about skill, but now it's just all about, I don't know, just nothing.
Yeah, I mean, they've been slowly nerfing that. Remember when there was a medium camp instead of a small camp right next to you? And that was pretty strong. They've nerfed with the small camps. I think they've got to move that further away to make it more punishing if you try to sneak in a little bit extra farm when wave is shoved out. I mean, who knows what the Frog has in mind, right? Like, I think we're all just getting pretty impatient, right? Because it's only a few hours away.
Yeah.
So we're all getting antsy for it, you know?
Yeah,
we're all
we
getting
are
antsy for it. Last few games in this patch, at least.
Well, I mean, this is the last game we cast before the patch, so I want to talk about it as much as possible, John. Just so when the patch does come out, I can complain as much as possible and say I said it should have been this way and it's not this way. Zorain does get away. Top lane, though, AT is going to be chased down here by Ninja Boogie and Raging Potato. A lot of slows here on the side of SMG in the safe lane to get that damage off, but they'll let AT leave. Skill A is going to be just fine. So Ninja Boogie will go for one more Jewel Breath. And while we're here, we will start with the top lane. John, Raging Potato and Ninja Boogie going to be against AT and Skill A, of course. Do you give the advantage to one duo or the other here in this top lane?
I think they got a good read on SMG to have this wave clearing lane, because Quap and Jakiro can just make short work of the board. So AT is already going for the wild axis instead might not go into the boars at all. Instead, just opting to nuke down the wave like this, and it takes away a lot of the slowdown potential from the Beastmaster, because you're not threatening with boars, you're not juggling the lane as well, you're not trading hits with a unit that you can just toss out and last forever. And it should be maybe a bit more manageable for SMG, but it's still a tough lane. Once those axes stack up, it is a ton of damage coming through, so you'll have to pace yourselves here on SMG.
Oh, Moon. Moon's overextended here, but Young PH is not going to be able to break the gap. Dragon Slave out as well, both heroes. One hit away from dying. Difference being, though, Moon has tangos and Young PH has a salvo. So it looks like Young PH was ready for the amount of harass coming out here from this laner. And he will have a bit of a HB advantage going into this mid lane now against Moon.
And that's a great start for Young PH, just forcing a lot of resources out for Moon. Already a strong start. He still has his tangos up, he still has the branches if he wants a plant. And he's not too far off now from his bottle. I believe Moon has his bottle flying out.
Nice chain.
So this should equalize, although.
Yeah, very nice chain out from Young PH. Within that tower range and tips around here. Even Moon tipping Young PH. Knowing how great of a play that was. You don't usually see the level 1 chains just taken like that at level 3. But he does take it and surprises the laner.
And it's just a massive win already. Young PH working a lane that... most of the time, Alina does just win out, because you nuke down the Flame Guard. It doesn't feel great for Ember. He doesn't manage to shove out Wave, but just the aggression from Young PH lines up for him. And we've seen him do this, but what did Moon just do?
Well, he denied the water rune. I think it's
no,
because
he doesn't need it, I guess.
Well, he doesn't need it. It just caught me off by surprise there for a sec. I'm like, hold on a minute, Moon. No need for that.
Could have picked it up, right?
He's missing 44 HP right now. Johnny could have had a full HP bar.
Or he could have just saved it up, you know, use the bottle, clear out the wave, trade some hits, go back for his water rune, and be just fine. I think he's worried about vision. It doesn't look like the ward reaches right into the pit, right into that rune pit, so might have had some leeway to just play greedier, use the bottle aggressively, then go for that top up before the next respawn, and maybe found himself a way to jump back in against Young PH, but I guess he just doesn't want to give the Ember any extras, considering that he did just die, so taking away that possibility for Young PH to do that same play is a safe bet.
You know what doesn't make sense, John? Blaine is throwing fire out to deny the water rune. How does that work? Theoretically, shouldn't his attack just disappear and the water rune remains?
No, the water rune would evaporate, Mike. It's scorching hot.
But it's in the river, Jonathan.
100.
It's in the river, Jonathan.
Yeah, but it will still make contact with a water rune, just that specific area of water that's been blessed and lifted up from the river.
And how does the water rune work as well, John? If it's flowing water, because the river is flowing water, then how could we possibly have a rune of water just sitting on top of the flowing water? See, these are things that the new patch has to rectify, John. I can't have this. I can't have it.
That's fair enough. Fair enough. Let's see. There's no tooltip description on what water rune actually is as well, and you know, raising that question, what is a bounty rune then, Mike? Explain that to me. Is it an interest rate being dropped off by the unknown bank of Dota of the Defense of the Ancients? What is that?
Let's not bring up interest rates right now, John. You're going to start some very unnecessary conversations in the Twitch chat as they are going to go down bot lane. Arfu and Pikachu going to cop it here by Kish and Zorain as they make the jump in onto Arfu with the Boundless Strike. They should have enough, but Kish, well, he's going to drop low, but not low enough. Has that Jingu Mastery to rely on. He's going to be able to survive and walk himself out.
Again, it's a slower start for SMG on the off lane. You've got Night Stalker, you've got Weaver. There's some good minus armor you can dish out, but not really the kind of way you want to play a Night Stalker lane. And there's not much presence from Pikachu in this early part. Like, he just can't do anything to fight against Kish right now.
Oh, they've got another Boundless to boot. It will land, and that'll be Pikachu to go. In the meantime, Raging Potato top lane also dying here to Skill Lay and Ninja Boogie. He needs an escape route. AT, though, just going to keep chasing him down. You might lose the Beastmaster, and you will, but Skill Lay, he'll keep the chase up. Though Ninja Boogie, a nice little juke out, does actually make his way out with the salve, and is going to be fine.
Manages to get away with it. You're still very happy with the trade for YG. While that's happening, a little bit of pressure was coming out from Young PH, but not dead yet.
Not yet, but he's in trouble again. Zarfu is going to move in. Tower is currently connecting onto this Weaver, as Zarfu does need to be a little bit wary. Young PH, though, is the one trapped inside as he does go for the chains out into the slide. Arfu is going to go down before he does die. So while it's still a worthwhile trade, oh, hold that thought. Arrow gonna land from Skill Lay onto Moon. He might be gone, and he will be.
God.
It's a real mess in this mid lane. It's how even Zorain shows up on that disruptor. Who wins that trade-off, John? I mean, the Ember gets the kill onto Arfu first, but then Moon gets the kill onto Young PH, but then Moon dies to the Mirana. So who really won the trade?
It's still YG favorite. If you look at the gold graph, our Ember got 277 gold, our Lina got 201 at the end of it. It feels a lot better there for YG. Young PH is still building up. He's forcing these early rotations out. And as mentioned, there's not much a Weaver can really do in the support role there, outside of just dropping Swarm and trying to get right clicks off. Now, the Ember is still vulnerable to that for sure, but it's just not fast enough that you can get these trades without losing anyone. And the punishment from YG is pretty darn strong. It comes down to having this really strong safe lane as well. In the Monkey King, it's level 4, it's still daytime for a little bit longer. Kish is not under threat from his Disruptor leaving lane. And that just allows much more presence out from YG, with Zorain even trying to maybe get a good glimpse off. Doesn't quite have the range on that. But with Moon TPing in and Zorain on that river area, he could just glimpse him all the way back, Mike.
Very true, John. Classic mistake here by Moon, as he's about to find out the hard way. And... oh, bye, Moon. I mean, they might be able to get Zorain, but nah, he's going to be fine. It's the saddest thing as well, right? When you're TPing against a Disruptor and you see them after you TP. Like, you want to do something to stop that glimpse from happening, but there's just nothing you can do. Unless you've got, like, a BKB up. And now Ninja Boogie's going to be chased down by Young PH, but... well, luckily for Ninja Boogie, the chains did not land onto the Jakiro, so he's going to be okay for now. The chains are back up, and Young PH may want to go for a dive. But no, he'll leave it for now. He'll be just fine. And would you look at that? Moon has made his way back into the mid lane.
Yep. Doesn't lose as much as you'd expect. They do keep the levels even, despite maybe missing out on a bit of a creep wave. And you're still in a playable spot here for Moon, but it's not that overwhelming start you expect from Lina every single time. He is slightly ahead in CS, but Young PH has compensated with his kills. And YG side lanes are still doing really well. Raging is finding farm up top, but AT is amping up the aggression.
Ninja Boogie is dropping, but AT in trouble as well as Raging. We'll just chase him down, and eventually we'll be able to find the kill. 1 for 1, but certainly in the favor of SMG this time, as Raging, he'll appreciate that bonus golden XP. Can I just make a comment as well, John? That is a very unfortunate cosmetic there on Raging Potato's quap. Have you seen that? It's just not a good one. Not a good one.
What makes it not good? What makes it not good, Mike?
I don't want to comment. It's the head. I'm not a big fan. In fact, hold that thought, John, because Pikachu's in trouble now bot lane. Kish, Boundless Strike's going to land, but Arfu has rotated and Kish may have gone a bit too far. Pikachu does fall to Zorain, but they are still going to find a great trade in the form of the Monkey King. Zorain, he'll be able to get out, but it's still a decent win there for SMG.
Yeah, they managed to get a lot more with that exchange, keeping that Monkey King pinned down for a little bit more, making good use of that nighttime to maybe bait in a little bit with Pikachu. He does fall, but you find a Monkey King you've been hunting down. You're enabling a little bit more room out for your Lina, for your Quap, because the supports have been stuck bot. So you are finding some angles for the aggression. Big courier snipe out from Skill Lay. No boots for our Quap for quite a while. And that might be able to give AT the angle he wants, but they will drag Afu back as Ninja disconnects again. You can see why he had that username, Mike.
That he does have that username, Jonathan, and I think it's fair now. He is displaying why he has that username at the moment. So Ninja Boogie just not having a very good time. Back to the Queen of Pain though, John, because we didn't get to hear your comments on this. It's not a great looking head, is it?
Nah, it is. It is fairly bestial though. You know, it's pretty beastly. So yeah, I guess it goes.
Is that meant to be a compliment?
I don't know. Like, some people seem to want to think, you know, a lot more Dota here should be like monster-like. This does make Quap seem more demonic, so it does fit that aspect of it, Mike.
She's meant to be a succubus, though, John.
Yeah, but you know, they're still demons in whatever mythology they stem from. They are still demonic beings.
I suppose so. But, you know, You know what, never mind. This is a conversation that's going to go down a deep, dark rabbit hole that we probably don't want to go into. I don't like the cosmetic is what I'm trying to say, John. I much prefer the Arcana. I think the Arcana does a fantastic job for the Queen of Pain. Speaking
of course, the
which,
Arcana is the best. Yeah.
New patch out tomorrow, John. Do we finally see an Earth Spirit Arcana come out?
No.
Okay.
What makes you think? How left field would that be? Just an Earth Spirit Arcana. That's
It'd be amazing.
What?
It would be amazing, John. Everyone would be so happy.
It would be so amazing, but it's so left field. It's like the one thing they're hyping up is Techies and the Primal Beast Roar at the start of game. So, no Earth Spirit, Mike.
AT, top lane, Sonic Wave's going to connect, and it's going to be a nice, easy pick-off here for SMG. Raging, unlike last game, John, having a much better time as Ninja Boogie.
Boy.
Yeah, he's not able to hold the connection. What can you do, John? Lines are not good, and Moon's asking the right questions, John. It is, isn't it magical, Papa? Not quite.
It is magical.
No, don't answer it as if I'm referring to you, John.
Who else are you talking to? Is it rhetorical?
Yeah, it is rhetorical, John.
Question?
Well, between me and you, between you and I, excuse me, who looks more like a dad?
You. To be fair, yes, you. I look like a kid. Look like some high schooler who's been misplaced, Mike. Which isn't a bad thing, you know? I've got that youthful aura about me, Mike. I'm still young. A young, sprightly 28, I believe. I don't even know anymore.
What did you learn?
Wait till you hit your 30s, John. All downhill from there, let me tell you. Things just start falling apart. Start pulling muscles for no reason. Skin gets old. It's weird.
Oh yeah. You know what's weird? You know how how Asian people look young in general?
No, hold on.
From their feature set, right?
You can't ask me that question. Go on. You make the statement.
Like, okay, so like my parents look really young still, and they're like in their 50s. But at some point, and I look because my grandparents look at grandparents, and it's like when does that switch flip on the genetic timeline? Like I actually start looking your age. Right. It's weird because it's like one moment you wake up and then suddenly you're just old.
Right.
It's like it's a gradual process, but it's like there's a tipping point where you just stop looking young, and it just doesn't make sense. I guess it's just beyond human comprehension, Mike. It just suddenly creeps up on you.
Speaking of, John, I mean, I showed my wife a picture of you and your dad, and she actually thought you looked like a spitting image of your father. So there you go, John. Maybe you don't look so young.
I get that. I get that a lot, though, to be fair. I think I look much more like my grandpa.
Right.
Like, I saw a picture of my grandpa when he was younger. He was exactly the same. Because he was a bit, fuller. My grandpa's a bit fuller. Unlike my dad, who's a bit, slimmer down on the facial area. And I was like, I saw my grandpa speaking, like, no wonder when I was a kid, my grandpa used to take us to his office in Zamboanga. All the office ladies would be crowding around her, like, oh, it looks just like you, like my grandpa. They wouldn't say my dad. They'd say I look like my grandpa. And now I'm like, I do look like my grandpa. Jeez. Guess I look old.
Before or after you guys went to pick up the specialty cheese bread at Master Bake?
Oh, that comes when we're going home. We pick up Master Bake going home. It's a going home thing. Man.
Yeah, I bet it is, John. Can't do it in public. Better go home. Take that specialty bread back home.
Yep. Everyone loves it. There's a bit of a shove in mid now from YG. Moon is around to kind of defend. They are flanking in to stop it, but you gotta watch yourself. DD on young PH for a bit longer here.
Nice chains out. That'll set up for the arrow and Ninja Boogie. Well, at least this time, John, he won't have to disconnect because he's not alive right now as the Laguna. Great dodge out. Young PH avoids all the damage. And they can't get him. Well, they'll get skill A, but that's about all they're going to get. Had that Laguna landed, though, you probably would have had just enough damage to finish off the Ember, but without it, you don't.
Yeah, just heads up from young PH, zipping in and out. And that's one of the points we raised, right? Without the Night Stalker, the Ember has free reign in these fights. So he just has all the angles he needs. There's no control on the Weaver. Not much control from a Jakira, even if he was around. And the Lina Sun's fairly dodgeable. Roar on Raging, though.
Yeah, it's the arrow. It's going to be a nice, easy setup. And the Skill A's having a great old time, John. Just so many ways to set up for the easiest arrow of his life. He'll get another. And that's going to make the
Ninja?
game very hard as Ninja Boogie has disconnected once again.
I like that. You saw Young PH go for a play, sleight of fist, then he just backed off. He recognized Ninja Boogie wasn't responding.
Oh, did he
didn't-
really?
Yeah, he sleight of fist, then just backed off. Like, what an honorable lad Young PH is.
Well, there's the tips out. Young PH, shout out to him, obviously doing the right thing and just not getting the free kill, which is something I can't say about my pub games, John, because we have a lot of disconnections when it comes to the SEA server, and let me tell you, people are not like Young PH.
It was Young PH who paused as well.
Oh,
So there you go.
What a gentleman. What a gentleman Young PH is. He not only does he not take the free kill, he pauses the game for SMG. Which does mean, by the way, that YG is currently using their pause time in case YG wasn't aware. So, you know, that might be a little bit problematic for them. But nevertheless, Young PH, absolute gentleman. In fact,
Absolutely.
Giga Chat.
Oh, yeah. He's been playing great. He knows he doesn't need the freebies. He wants to play an even game. He wants to see his opponents at their best while YG is giving the best. So that's what you want. You know, Mike, that's sportsmanship right there.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see how long this pause takes. Again, I believe it is YG's pause time that's being used at the moment. Because they were the ones to pause, which, you know, it could be 200 IQ plays here from SMG not pausing for Ninja Boogie that time around. It is a strat, John. I mean, you know, YG may not realize it right now.
Perhaps. The pause actually came in before the disconnect. So that's why it's counted as Young PH, because it didn't auto pause on the disconnect. I mean, Ninja Boogie didn't disconnect before the pause. If he did disconnect before the pause, I think it would just automatically pause for SMG. I don't know how it counts. Like, that's a technical thing. Doogie's the big brain admin here. He's figuring it out with his notebook while lying in bed as relaxed as he can be, because he's the best.
Dougie would never lay in bed during a game, John. I know Dougie's out there crunching the numbers right now, getting that stopwatch out, keeping the time here for this pause. As Ninja Boogie's still not back quite yet. Have to wait a little bit longer. Can I just say, by the way, John, I really enjoyed that bread I had last night. That I can't. Pan de Sol, I believe, is the is the bread name, and I've been testing things out, Jonathan. I didn't quite get to use Nutella on it yet. I know my wife tried something today. I can't remember what it was. I think she made a chicken schnitzel, and she decided to put the chicken schnitzel in it, which I know isn't particularly standard when it comes to this kind of bread, but it was delicious. I think it goes back to the slight sweetness. So if you have something salty within the bread, it does taste very, very nice. As Dougie is given the 2 minutes here on the timer, so maybe it's not YG's time, or maybe it is, and it's just been that long.
Perhaps Dougie would know. Going back to your point, Pandesal, Mike, there are no rules with Filipino food. You know what we do in the Philippines? We have this pig blood stew called dinuguan, right? And it's salty. It's slightly irony. You kind of clean it out with vinegar. We eat that with rice cakes, which are sweet. So your wife, the missus, shoving in that chicken schnitzel onto Pandesal, that's a very Filipino thing to do. We do anything. Feel free. We don't mind. Just enjoy it. It's your bread.
I appreciate that, John. Thank you for that. So we do have the go-ahead again. Ninja Boogie's just saying, can we try, and that they will. He does remain connected as YG. Again, very sportsman-like conduct earlier on, not getting the Jakiro kill, and now they are going to try and go, at least just get away from Arfu, but here comes Pikachu with that Dark Ascension, chasing down that Beastmaster, and they should have plenty of damage, though a turnaround is there from Zorain onto Arfu. They might at least get themselves a Weaver, and they will. But now Zorain in trouble here with Pikachu. Luckily, the Moonlight Shadow will allow them to escape. It will be a 1-for-1 for now, but Pikachu still have a look around for another target. Is going to try onto Skill Lane, and they will actually have enough into the immediate smoke, as they are still trying to get even more kills out of this Dark Ascension. They are even going to find Zorain. That should be another hit for Pikachu, and it will be. Very nice rotations from SMG. Does pay off very nicely.
Big kills to take. They managed to find a core and 2 supports. That is giving YG some space out for the other cores to farm, especially Young PH. Kish playing tag here with Afu. If they collapse onto him, it could be big, but the rest of SMG has backed off. AT will have Roar up. Afu's not in the safest position to stop this push here.
On they go. Sonic Wave out. Still Raw has connected on to Raging, and the arrow, of course, is going to land into the Primal Spring, and they've got enough, but no! They've lost Kish, and they've also lost AT. So they've gone a bit too far there this time. Zafu now just going to man up against Skill A. And as the Weaver, you still have plenty of damage available. But he is going to back off. Not going to try and go too forward onto this Mirana. So it does seem like SMG are coming out on top of these small engagements at this top lane.
Yeah, they're just constantly forcing YG to focus on that lane, and that's giving a lot more space out here for Moon to play this catch-up farm. He's playing that triangle area while all of that attention's up top. The push isn't coming out from YG because they're forcing to fight. It's a good arrow, though.
Yeah, very nice arrow. Into the Static Storm. That'll be Arfu to drop. And they're still going to try and go after that top tier 1 tower. In the meantime, SMG, they've been taking plenty of time to just get more farm up on Moon. Raging is still top of the net worth board. In fact, while Kish is down bot, he does have to be a little bit wary of SMG as they are making their way down to try and contest. But while they're doing that, YG, they're starting to push the mid-tier 1 tower now. So just forcing the other towers to go down. As Ninja Boogie is there to defend, but this time they will show no mercy. Onto the Jakiro they go. They will be able to secure the kill. Zafu. He's trying to rotate, but there's really not much he can do. Just keep being out of there. Even being glimpsed back by Zorain, and they just can't catch anyone.
Yeah. You could say that's a successful defense for mid-tier 1. It does come across. They do manage to clear the bot, but Moon's in danger now.
Oh, Moon. A bit too close to Kish. Is going to drop. I mean, it's little mistakes like that that might start to cost you here for SMG. I mean, this draft, again, it's not going to last as long as, say, YG's will, as they've even found the Jakiro again. Ninja Boogie really can't do too much to survive through this. He does need the help to come in, and they are coming, but it's too late. So they've popped the Dark Ascension. They're going to try and move in onto the Disruptor, and they do get Zorain. It's somewhat of a trade here for SMG. I suppose they do also protect that mid-tier 1 tower for now. But it does seem like YG are just patiently waiting for that Dark Ascension to be over. And maybe after that they could just start moving back in. In fact, never mind waiting. They're going in right now onto Pikachu. The Sonic Wave's not going to be enough to save. The Night Stalker gone, and now they'll move right in onto Raging Potato. There's no arrow follow-up though this time, so AT is going to drop. Skill A needed a bit more time for the arrow. Instead now trying to move onto Fu. Young PH dropping very low here on this Ember. Is not going to be able to juke out that Dragon Slave. It is going to fall as they even found Skill A. So SMG, they're able to clean up a little bit here, as we do have another disconnection.
Yeah, what can you do? Ninja Boogie having a rough time with the internet. Great cleanup from SMG. YG in a good position to strike back now. Kish is hanging around the tree line. He knows where Moon's at. They can make a play here. It is only Kish and Zorain on the Disruptor, but they've got Static Storm here. They might be able to punish Moon once more. That will even out that fight, because you take off the big win condition of SMG.
There's your reconnect. Go ahead is there. Spring is in. Kish gonna go right after the Jungler here of SMG, trying to kill off that Lina, and he might just have him. Can he find more? Raging. Gonna try and back off, but the Boundless Strike is out, and Afu, he's not safe either. The Sakuchi kept him alive. In fact, they're gonna try and turn here onto Kish. They might actually get him too, and they do. They do still manage to get something for their trouble here, SMG. But I'd still say that's a pretty big win for the side of YG.
Yeah, I think killing off Alina is much more important than losing your Monkey King, and you still get a lot more gold going the way of Kish anyway, with the kills he had on hand. And that will open up that mid-tier 1 push. They finally cleared out some movement out from YG on bot as well, trying to find some stragglers. Pikachu showing for a while, but not staying for long. Moonlight is up though, and they're going to keep going.
Running with the pack.
They will. They might run right into Pikachu here. But never mind, they're going to find Arfu. There is a sentry ward, so Arfu will see them. Goes for the dust into Skill A. He'll just leap out of there, but Ninja Boogie now is on the chase. Skill A still able to just keep leaping away, does make it out. So Arfu is still trying to get the vision, but the arrow now going to follow up and just catch the Weaver. But they won't have the damage, so they won't stick around. I think Young PH at minimum wants that Maelstrom up before he can actually try and go for those sorts of kills. And well, in fact, the fight continues. They're still late. Still fighting over the vision game in this Radiant jungle. Is eventually just going to be able to back off, but I can't say the same for this Ember. It's Pikachu. Well, he had the silence for a moment, but now Pikachu's in trouble as the remnants are there. Young PH does get the kills. Arfu now is going to try and get something. It might eventually be able to get this Ember. Remnants, though, are there. Arfu still on the chase, but Young PH is healing up with that bottle charge. But Raging's got the damage. Still a decent kill here for SMG, even if they do end up losing their Night Stalker.
Yeah, you're very happy with keeping Young PH down. They'll go for the smoke play, and they might be able to find a good angle here. Smoke not spotted. They're coming in from the rear onto the mid.
There they are. BKB was used up by Moon though, so the Roar is going to fly out into the arrow again, onto that Queen of Pain, into the Wukong's command now. They are just locking him down, but Raging, he has survived somehow. Kish is the one to fall first, and Zorain will follow. So after all that control, they could just not get any form of damage out. I suppose without the Ember, you can't really chip away at anyone. And now they've got Skill Lay on top. The Mirana's drop. They'll even go for more. Young PH TPing back in, trying to go after Ninja Boogie. Does get it, but now needs to run as they do chase him down. The Shadow Strike will connect, and he is out of remnants, which means he is set to fall. Suddenly SMG looking like the better team in this game, number 2.
Aggression's kicking into gear. What really enabled them to find those kills, Mike, is that Veil pickup in Ninja Boogie. He just drops the Veil, drops a Macro Pyre, you melt at this stage in the game without any sort of magic damage mitigation. No pipe up, no BKBs up yet in big cores. They're very susceptible to that burn damage, so you gotta watch for the Jakiro. The Veil just enables literally everyone. It enables your Night Stalker a little bit more with his magic damage, really enables the Co-op and Lina. Makes it a very easy process to just melt through that front line. YG kind of have to reel that aggression back in. They've lost their gold lead. It's a 3k lead for SMG. And they need that farm flow onto Kish and maybe more onto Young PH. Like, the BKB on Ember is now pivotal, because once that BKB is up, nothing will pierce through that spell immunity. They just don't have the hold and really the physical damage to deal with an Ember spell immunity up.
Static Storm out, Ninja Boogie going to be caught here by Zorain, and Kish will follow up. Arfu, though, showing up, maybe trying to set up onto the Disruptor. Instead, moving on to the Monkey King now as Kish has lost half his HP and does need a way out. Chains, however, catching up that Night Stalker into the arrow, so Pikachu's going to drop. Can they find more? Young PH, he gets a regen rune for himself. Boundless Strike even catching out Arfu, even after that time-lapse into the stop, and, well, they found the Weaver. They can't lock him down long enough, though. Instead, maybe they could go for another, but they're not going to be able to land an arrow. Instead, oh, they're going to be able to land an arrow. There's your glimpse into the arrow set up for Skill Lay. It seems like YG intend on trying to push back.
Yeah, they're just taking these staggered fights really well. They've got really great individual stun, and that's where their lineup still shines. Like, they've got pretty darn good team fight, but even when they're split up, the arrow setups are coming from everywhere. They've got multiple stuns, not as much control on SMG. SMG will smoke up. They are scanning the Roche, but YG just showed themselves kind of clearing out that mid wave, so maybe looking for a flank here.
They are. Kish. Arfu. Jump right in. Arfu. Immediately just deleted here by Kish, but will buy back and time-lapse back in to try and go after this Monkey King. They'll lock him down in the ice path, but Kish is still alive. Surely not for long, though, as they do get the Laguna. SMG haven't looked for a bit more. This Dark Ascension timing, they'll find AT, but there's your roar out into the arrow setup. Plenty of damage this time as well. They will burst him down. Still Moon trying to catch AT on that Beastmaster. Will eventually get him. But without that BKB now, he may just need to back out. But the glimpse is there. They've locked down Moon. Static Storm out by Zorain, and that'll be Moon's life. Into Ninja Boogie. And Arfu's the last man left standing. Though I say that, Raging is also there, and Skill Lane may just be able to catch them out. Chains is there to catch the Quap into the arrow. But do you have the damage this time? Not quite enough. Blink was there from Raging. Young BH still dancing around here with SMGs. A Sonic Wave gonna land here from Raging Potato. Does get the kill, and now they can turn back onto Skill Lay. Try to get the Mirana as well. They've dusted him up, but Kitch is back in with the Boundless Strike. He does get Raging. Afu is still trying, but he's gonna give his own life away for this. They just don't stop fighting, these two teams.
Yeah, just relentless aggression coming out. That was a dieback on Afu as well. So a pretty big set of pickoffs for YG. It does favor SMG in terms of net worth, but in terms of momentum, in terms of maybe EXP swing, it does feel much more monumental for YG to force out these fights and win out those trades. Double damage rune spawning up as well. Kish in a good position to snag it. They've got the Hawk kind of scouting forward. Should be able to pick that up nicely as we've got another pause, you know, as expected. A certain ISP just, well, this is what we all deal with in the Philippines, Mike. This is it.
I'm sorry you have to deal with them, John. Seems quite terrible. Seems quite darn terrible. You know, I did notice as well though that apparently there's that what's it called, Skylink from Elon Musk going around the world. Have you seen that, John? The internet through the satellites.
Yeah, I think your issue there is latency, because the way that works is, so your connection, your ground point connects to the satellite relays it down. Technically, that's a lot more distance than just a direct wire line, right? Going through the atmosphere and back down. And there's the issue of coverage, which should be being widened. Did they give they gave the go-ahead, but Ninja Bogey disconnected again. It is a lot of latency. I know I've seen some people say that on certain servers I've watched, like 70 ping. These are like ranches in America. You know, it's not like playing Dota. So for general media content, I think it's a pretty darn good thing. For gaming, I don't know how well that latency will be, Mike. I have no clue how good the routing's going to be to the servers and the relay points. So I guess we'll see. I don't think it's rolled out fully. It is still a trial run, but that could be one solution, I guess. Maybe.
I mean, you've got to... It might be better than this. I mean, sure, the ping will be annoying, but at least it's better than DCing every 2 seconds. I'd say, at least for Ninja Boogie. Like, it's a decent backup, right? Like, in the Philippines, you've got, like, what, 2 providers? At least you have a third, is the way I see it.
Yeah, like, so in the Philippines, I think we have, like, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 providers. But the issue is, a lot for like 3 of those providers, the lines they use are from the one provider, which is currently disconnecting. So it's like a pick your poison kind of thing where, yeah, you'll jump to a different one. Yeah, maybe they have more server capacity to process your requests, but the lines are still the same. If the lines have an issue, you're still gone. So what can you really do about that?
Well, that's a fair point. I guess you can't do much. YG, they could go for this Roshan, is what they can do. They've got that Helm of the Overlord, so the Thunderhide is available now. Plenty of attack speed here for Kish and AT. Maybe a free Roshan, as we are going to have another pause. And well, I believe they are out of pause time now, right? Like you only had 30 seconds left, so I suppose it's on YG now if they want to give it up. And well, there's the unpause.
Oh,
Afu unpause. Wow.
Whoa.
He doesn't want he doesn't want that pity. YG Skill A jumping in like, no, Afu, we are not having this. As Skill A will disconnect himself. I don't know if YG is just trying to be the absolute Giga Chads that we hope to see. The absolute gentleman just disconnecting until Ninja Boogie connects back, but I like what I'm seeing here from YG.
Yeah. It's a quick reconnect, but who's unpausing? Okay.
Skill A this time. So, never mind.
All right, so I guess he really did just have a connection issue, and we will just go ahead. Ninja Boogie will be back. He's been on and off. Someone's micro-himing anyway. It is a Jakiro. You kind of just want to toss Macropire, Ice Path, and Dual Breath and fail, and you're kind of okay. So we'll see how much this affects SMG. It's never easy playing a man down as the push begins up top here.
Yeah, Raging, Static Storm, not going to hold him down, but they've got the Glimpse back and they've got the Roar. That'll be plenty, and it's one of those things, John. Even if you do micro the hero, it's still a 4v5. Well, never mind, it's a 5v5 now, but that's besides the point. There'll be no pauses to come every time he disconnects at this point, so 4v5 means YG will be very confident to just keep moving in as they even found another. With Pikachu on the Night Stalker to drop. And YG, they might go high ground. They know how big of an advantage this is.
Oh yeah. They still have that second life running on Kish. They've still got the BKBs ready to go on Kish and Young PH. They've got pretty good presence in the front line. They don't need to worry about the magic damage of Jakiro, of Quap, of Lina with a BKB. And they will be held back a bit, but they've got the control here. Might look for that punishment bot.
Yeah, Moon. Gonna try and run. Young PH not able to land the chains, but can get the vision and information for his team. He does continue to chase him down until those chains are back up with that haste rune. BKB has been popped though by Moon, and that's going to be enough to allow him to TP out safely. Does mean YG, they'll have to leave that high ground now and not really pursue it for now. They'll have to wait a little bit later on.
And they've got a lot of time. Still 3 minutes on the Aegis, so they've got some time to rework their lanes, find a different angle, maybe look for a pick-off first, SMG. They have to watch themselves. They've got some good forward vision from YG. They've got the Hawks, they're jumping around, they're smoked up.
They're going to find Moon, who just uses BKB, so he won't have it available for the fight, and that's going to mean he's gone. Unfortunately for Moon, no buyback either, as he also bought out the Shadow Blade.
Yep, that's big. Opens up the tier 2, opens up the high ground at this point. Without the Lina, your damage just feels like it falls flat. Sure, you still have the Quap, but you have a lot of HP on these cores now, and Ninja Boogie's gonna have to be cautious. They can clear out the creep wave, but you can't stop the push entirely. The damage output of the Boris, of the Monkey King, of everyone having this durability with a Granite or up, it's a bit too much.
Chains out, the Quap going to be arrowed into the Boundless, and that might just be Raging Gone here. So he will drop Ice Path from Ninja Boogie, but just not in time here on this Jakiro, as Young PH might just chase him down now. Chains are out. He won't pursue the kill. And in the meantime, SMG, all they can do is just try to snipe couriers and just skip creep waves. It's the only option.
This should stall out the push. They don't really have a creep wave left. They still have one range creep. That's actually a problem. They cut the creep wave, but that range creep hitting the building, giving them access.
So try onto the Monkey King, but the Roar is there from AT to protect Kish, and now with the Boundless Strike, he's going to move right back in onto Moon, getting the Jingu Mastery. That'll be Ninja Boogie gone, and that'll be Arfu gone. Moon is still going to try, but Young PH is right behind the Lina, and that'll be his death. They finally get Kish, but it is only the Aegis life. And Young PH, he's not done yet. He wants more. He'll go after Ninja Boogie. He'll even find the Night Stalker. We'll get one, and he might even find two. In fact, Pikachu will be able to get out, but they're onto the tier 4 towers. No waste of time here for YG.
They've got the opening. They know buybacks were expended. Respawns aren't too short. And the siege isn't that fast. The towers just melt. Still have to be cautious here.
Another arrow onto Pikachu, and there's just no way to escape the combo. Not without a BKB up. So it does seem like YG are going to be able to take this series 2-0. As SMG just have no way to try and really defend it. There is no defense to come. Onto the Ancient they go. Boundless, arrow, why not one more time? Before they call the GG, they'll end up getting Raging, and Arfu's just seen enough. That'll be it at 2-0 to go the way of YG, as they continue to just pursue SMG across the base. Of course, very unfortunate circumstances here from SMG, to be fair, John. I mean, they don't have mid one around. They've got a new player in Ninja Boogie, and well, unfortunately for him, he's having disconnection issues the whole game. So it hasn't been a fun time at all for this team.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. They still put up a good fight. You know, they managed to find some good kills. They managed to find some good angles. The Veil out from Ninja Boogie did enable them to melt through YG when they'd overextend, but it's not enough to turn the tides. And YG, they just played really aggressive. They had this push lineup with the Beastmaster. They had the Zalrain Special Disruptor. I get that the Night Stalker was supposed to counter that, but there was just so much the Night Stalker had to do. He had to pin down the Ember as well. If you just jump Disruptor, we saw Young PH take control. And it's a tough game to get that control underway. So we'll see what SMG can do. Next time, YG feeling great about finding that 2-0 win. This is going to claw them up through phase 2 and solidify their position for now in the upper half, Mike.
Well, that it will, John. With that, we are going to have to head off to a short 15-minute break, but we do have our second series coming up for the night, and it's going to be Motivate Trust against T1. And let's be frank, John, Motivate's also been kind of struggling as of late, and T1, I mean, at least the other day, it looked amazing. So we'll see how they do against Motivate Trust. It's going to be 15 minutes, though. We'll be back right after that break.